Hello and welcome to the Malika Writes channel. My name is Malika Writes and today we will be doing a Q&A and I will also be replying to some of the comments that I got on my last video, which was about the Lord of the Rings trailer. So the first comment I will be sort of addressing says things were supposed to be getting less ethereal, less magical, less legendary as Middle-earth history moved forward. Some of the elves look more gritty, down to earth, less powerful, read Galadriel, than they did thousands of years later. So that is very true. The elves are supposed to be withering in some sense as history moves forward, as men become more dominant. That is supposed to be happening. However, at the period of time that the showrunners want to take the Lord of the Rings, which is the Second Age, they're pretty much still the same sort of ethereal sort of beings that we've come to see in the Lord of the Rings. So that's part of the reason why I was quite disappointed to see Galadriel, and she sort of just gave me that human princess vibe, and I really wanted Galadriel. I think she has a very distinct essence about her, especially as an elf born in Valinor just during the First Age. So she is not just she's not an elf who was left behind. She's not one of the Morroquendi. She is one of the Noldor. She part of her kinship. She claims kinship to Ingwe, the High King of all the elves. So she's not just this elf from Middle Earth. She is very important. She's very powerful. I didn't get that. It doesn't matter how young she is. She's still Galadriel. We should be able to feel that character's essence. That was not what happened in that trailer. Obviously, I hope that things change. We did get a really nice shot of Galadriel and Elrond together, and in that picture, she looked a little bit more recognizable, more like the Galadriel we know. So I personally would like to see more of what Galadriel is like in this new adaptation. I'm still hung up over Elrond's hair. I'm still not over that. I don't know why he's blonde. I don't know why he doesn't have long hair. This is something that I hope they change, because there's still time. There is still time for things to be changed. There is still time for them to fix his hair. Because I'm not over the hair. So that's sort of my reply to that. I agree that yes, things are moving as things move forward. The characters are supposed to become more changed, but we're actually going backwards in history. So we're not at that gritty stage yet. The source material and the 3 Lord of the Rings movies are always going to be very special to me. I hope this show is good. I'm approaching this with an open mind and a very clear idea that this will probably be very different from what the movies were and the tone of the novels gave. Even if the show is bad, I don't find that it takes anything away from the greatness of the novels or the Lord of the Rings movies. I completely agree with that sentiment. I will always have the movies and the novels, which if this show is terrible, then we will just have to pretend it didn't happen. I mean, it will be a lesson to future people who want to bring Tolkien's work to the screen. It will be a warning to them about what doing things strictly for profit looks like, rather than sticking to the books and what they had to present. And this is the thing, the books were able to garner an audience. The movies, which were quite loyal, they'd had their own little things that they changed, but they were quite loyal to the feel of the books. They garnered an audience as well, and to deviate so drastically from that as this feels like it will be doing, I don't know how that will work. However, it could also bring a whole new audience to Tolkien, and hopefully promote the books, and hopefully it will be good. I don't want to bash the show. I know some people have just given up all hope on the show, but I am still sort of in the middle, just hoping that things will turn out well, hoping that we will get something that we can get a feeling of nostalgia off. And those who have grown up with the books, those who have grown up with the movies, I hope that this will be something we can look back on and really enjoy. If not, then it will just be a sort of cautionary tale about how not to bring Tolkien's work to the screen. But hopefully that is not the case. Okay, someone else has commented, Galadriel is power and is ethereal. She isn't a warrior. She doesn't need to use a sword. As for the race changes, I thought it would have been nice to explore the lands south of Mordor to explain the other variation of human in Middle-earth. There is plenty beyond what we have seen and read. I think overall the changes just show the arrogance of the show writers. They are basically saying they know better and inserting what they feel is lacking from the original text. I agree with that. It has the ingredients to be a good show, but the problem comes from hiring writers who clearly aren't fans of the books. Star Wars is a prime example of why you don't hire people who don't understand the lore. I completely agree with that sentiment as well. I'm slightly more positive, but I do very much agree with this opinion wholeheartedly, because I think it does have the ingredients to be a good show. I think it could definitely be something that if they just pulled themselves together a little bit and said, okay, we're not trying to rewrite Tolkien, we're trying to do something that the fans will like. You can make a lot of money by pandering to the fans. Like that, you don't have to go out of the box or do something new. You could just pander to the fans. You don't have to reinvent the wheel. So I think that this could be a good show, but there is a bit of hesitancy there because there are some key things that are missing. I really do like that point about exploring the lands south of Mordor. I really do think that would have been the best way to introduce new races to the cast of Middle-earth, but they obviously didn't decide to do that. I don't understand the laziness in that particular area, because you have the budget. $1 billion is a lot of money. Like we're not talking 1 million here, we're talking 1 billion. That is a lot of money. This laziness in wanting to basically swap out characters and trying to pander to the fans but also stripping away almost everything that they know is very odd to me. One thing I don't want to see is for Galadriel to just become some girl boss that nobody likes. Look, we don't like those kind of characters. It's not that hard to go on Twitter, to go online if you don't want to go through the cesspool of Twitter, but to go online and to just see that nobody wants these characters. No one wants characters who are girl boss like, who are just arrogant. It's like the Gaston character. Why just put that in a woman and think somehow we're going to like this character? I hope Galadriel doesn't become that. I would say that just because she's wearing armor does not mean she's necessarily going to become that, but I do think that they didn't really pay attention to how that would look to the fans. And they left a lot open for assumption, which is what is allowing people to make the assumption that she is going to be some kind of girl boss character. I really hope that is not the case, because I do not need another Captain Marvel. It was bad enough with one. So I hope that isn't the case. So I said, do you know what's more stupid than a dark-skinned dwarf princess? A beardless dark-skinned dwarf princess. Yes, the race changes. I garner that a lot of people are not happy about that. Like I said in the video, I am past the point of caring. If you want to swap out the races of characters, be my guest. At this point, I really don't care. But I don't see why they needed to take away her beard. I don't see why. And I know fans who have been advocating for race swapping characters for years, but they also don't understand why the dwarf princess is beardless. It doesn't make sense. A bearded dwarf lady is a part of their culture. Why? It's an intrinsic part of the dwarves. It's like elves having long hair, which they've also taken out. But I don't understand why they would take out these things. Is it to make it more relatable to a modern audience? Well, I don't have TikTok, but from what I see people post on their Instagrams, long hair is in for guys. So I don't understand the hair changes. I don't understand the beardless lady. That was, I don't know if you wanted to have diversity points, that's a great way to get it. So I don't understand why she's beardless. Did she cut off her beard as like a part of a ceremony? Was it like a grieving situation? Because in some cultures when there's a death, people cut off their hair. So what's going on? Why doesn't she have a beard? It needs to be explained. You can't just take it out and then us not have any explanation. For example, Elrond, I tried to give an explanation, maybe in honor of his brother who decided to be human. Elrond cut his hair and decided, to walk around like a man. I don't know how that fits in with their storyline because we know very little about their storyline, but maybe that's the case. I don't understand why the other elf have short hair though. Was he trying to appeal more to his human lover? I really don't understand the changes because it's not like Gilgalad had short hair. He has the appropriate long hair. He actually looks like an elf that we can recognize. We look at him and we go, oh yes, that's an elf. So why the variation in hair? I'm really confused, especially for main characters. If you are going to pull fans back into Middle Earth, we have to be coming back into a recognizable Middle Earth. We're not coming back into that. I don't really recognize where we're going. This is it's odd. And this is the thing, if you're going to put in your teaser trailer before the king, before the fellowship, before all this, basically tying in the other stories to your story, you have to give me something from those stories to let me know that A, there is going to be some sort of continuation, that those stories are not invalidated by your story, which is what you're not doing. In small things, but any writer knows that it's the little details that make up the finished product. You can have a mediocre product that was supposed to be good, but because you missed out on those details that made it feel very tangible, you end up with something that's mediocre. So I really hope that's not the case. There is still time to fix stuff like this. I know the CGI can also be fixed a little bit before the product is released. The clean sort of look about it, hopefully that can be dirtied up a bit. But I have somewhat hope for this show, and I hope that it turns out good. Some of the changes don't make sense to me, but you know what? It's their choice because it's their money at the end of the day. Why didn't they focus on a part of Middle Earth not seen in the movies where stuff could be explained? I agree with this sentiment. I'm reading stuff that I agree with, but I really don't understand why they couldn't just go to the south of Middle Earth and sort of just explain maybe the perspective of the Haradrim. Why would they join up with Sauron? There is a long-standing grief between the people who live in Gondor and the people who live to the south of Mordor. So why not explore that? Maybe give us their perspective. Maybe was Sauron the lesser evil? Is there sort of a colonial tension between the two of them? What happened? Because in the Silmarillion, we know that some of the Haradrim came down into what used to be Beleriand, and there was some sort of enslavement. We see that with Tuor, who was enslaved. So there is a history of tension between those who live in what used to be Beleriand and those who live to the south of Mordor. Maybe we explore that a little bit more. I don't understand why they couldn't do that. It would have been a lot easier to do that. So, I'm very much in that boat of there's so much to do, there is so much to explore, to really flesh out that they have ignored and just decided to... I don't want to comment too much on the plot because we don't actually know the plot. There's very little of the plot in there. We know that Galadriel's doing a bunch of stuff. We know that there are going to be a diversity of storylines. So that may come in at a later point. Maybe we do get the south of Middle Earth. That could be an option. it's definitely an option I know a lot of fans would like to see. It's not that they don't want diversity in the show, it's that don't have diversity where it's out of place. I know I've said I don't care, does not mean I agree with it. I'm just at a stage where I'm just apathetic, because at this point, useless diversity sprinkling just happens everywhere and I'm not accepting it, but I'm just at a point where don't I don't grow enough cares to give. So that's the polite way of saying it. So yeah, that's kind of rounding up what I think about everything. That's kind of what I think about the whole Lord of the Rings shows. Thank you so much, guys, for commenting on that video. So that's kind of my final thoughts about it. I hope that you have enjoyed this video. I hope that I will obviously leave a written comment as well, but I just wanted to take the time to do a kind of follow-up on the last video, because I know a lot of people had some strong opinions. Some people are completely against diversity changes, which I understand. This is supposed to be a myth for England, which is predominantly white, and it was not written in a time where England was as multicultural as it is now. So I completely understand the resistance to it. I don't like it either, because say for example I were to write something that were based in Cameroon, which is where I'm from, I would be very confused if suddenly the chief was like a white person. That would just not sit well, but I don't understand why it sits well here. I understand that minorities have not been given a great hand. I am completely for minorities getting better options, but I don't want you to give us a shoddy story. That's not a way to give us a better hand. Historically, we've been dealt a horrible hand. So why would you then give us your leftovers? That's like you've milked all the juice out of, for example, the Ariel, the Little Mermaid. You've milked all the juice by having thousands of adaptations of the Little Mermaid, and then now you're like, okay, we'll make her black. Are we not deserving of a story? Do we not deserve a story of our own? Are we just the afterthought? That's how it comes across. So I don't see this as a means for celebration. It's kind of mocking a little bit. It's a bit disrespectful. It's, if you're going to give us a story, then make it good. Don't give us the half-baked ideas of casual diversity from your ivory tower. That's rude. So that's kind of my opinion on the whole forced diversity thing. I'm apathetic about it, but I do not accept it. As for the story itself, as for the series itself, I really do hope that it turns out good, because I kind of do need something to watch at this point in time. But yeah, that's my opinion on it. I hope that you have enjoyed this video. I hope you have a lovely day. This has been the Malika Writes channel.